Okay, Lacey and Bill. Um, I've got a lot of stuff on my mind. A lot of stuff that's happened today. Okay, come on. Give it to me. Lacey, I want you to read your mom and dad the place in Judges 6, the beginning of the Samson story, and laugh with them and say, listen, remember, God had this strange purpose for Samson to put him in the midst of relationship with certain people. And the only way to get him in relationship with certain people was for him to connect with and marry certain women from the Philistines. And so there's this beautiful statement that Samson's parents did not understand the overall plan of God. And so I want you to show that passage to them and understand that in Acts 14, verse 21 and 22 and 23, it says, if you are going to enter the kingdom of heaven, you are going to go through immense difficulties. You are going to go through many, many great difficulties. And sometimes just the difficulty of staying in relationship with a person when you don't understand what's going on with them is really important. So that's one thing. And this is for you and Bill both. This is like, hello, I really appreciate that telephone conversation that we have. Gosh, that was great. That was really, really helpful. I just want to escape to the beach with you guys and sit together with you for like 3 weeks and just talk and create songs and stuff. And maybe you guys could come here or whatever. Anyhow, okay, come on. There's another thing. Okay, especially for Bill. Bill, do internet research on Priscilla and Aquila. Priscilla and Aquila. Read people's commentaries on Priscilla and Aquila. Here's the situation. Priscilla is mentioned first when this couple is communicated about. And she's mentioned first because she is like a crazy non-stop servant in the Jesus Freaks. So she's mentioned first. Her husband, Aquila, is a tent maker. Now, there's a debate as to whether he's making actual tents or whether he's making prayer shawls or whether he's making both. It's really kind of hard to figure out. But he is a tent maker. He has a business. Okay? They are Jewish people. They were in Italy. Here's this great story. They were in Italy, and in Italy, the Jewish people keep bringing the new Yeshua disciples to the Roman courts and saying, hey, you need to judge these people because they're causing problems in our community. And we want them to be stoned to death. And they're causing problems. And the Roman political people are like, look, we don't want to sit around and chit-chat about your religious priorities and who's right and who's wrong. We've got like government and population to take care of. And they get so sick of the Jews dragging the Christians into their courts, the Roman government says all Jews must be cleared out of the entire peninsula of Italy. So all of Rome is cleansed of the Jews. They have to go home or go somewhere else. So Jewish people have to leave Italy. And they leave Italy. So Aquila and Priscilla had to leave Italy, and they went to Corinth, which is a port city just a little ways away. So Aquila and Priscilla are living in Corinth. Corinth is the city of the temple of Aphrodite, the sex god. Now, that's where the people in the Roman Empire, if your kids are kind of having some problems and not getting a spouse or da-da-da-da-da, you send them to Corinth to go and give offerings at the temple of Aphrodite and possibly have sex with the temple priest people and stuff like that. And that's good for your sexual health, is to go to the temple of Aphrodite and do stuff in that temple and give sacrifices to that god. So Aquila and Priscilla moved to Corinth, and Paul goes to Corinth because there's a bunch of problems in the Corinthian atmosphere. And I gotta say, run this out. Okay, all right. That's crazy. Okay, so Paul, I mean, this is a really cool situation in scriptures that I like. I don't know, I just know this stuff. So Paul is going to Corinth because there's a bunch of problems in the little house churches all through Corinth, because all these people are so used to, sexy playtime. And he's like, look, some of you people are falling off the wagon and you're forgetting that, like, we need to walk in a sexual peace, and our challenge is actually to be single like Jesus and actually set aside the pleasures and act like eternity is about to open up, and we want to rescue children and care for suffering people. We want to team up and train people in the teaching of Yeshua. We want to be basically around the clock happy moms and dads and children and workers together and set aside the pleasures of the world as much as possible. So he goes into Corinth to coach people. Now the Jews in Corinth do not hang out at the temple of Aphrodite, and the Jewish gatherings, the Hebrew-speaking gatherings, are not the ones that are going crazy with sex. It's the Gentile gatherings. So when he goes to Corinth, he doesn't stay with the Gentile gatherings, and he doesn't even stay with the elders in Corinth. He stays with Jewish people that have just left Italy and come to Corinth, and he stays with them because they are of his same trade. He stays with them because they are of his same trade. That is his decision for dwelling and staying with people. So he goes and stays with Aquila because he works in the tent making trade. And I'm telling you, if you know a trade and you work in like food service lunch truck, you just know all the business, you know the ins and outs, you know how to run an employee, you know how to keep track of stock, and keep an eye out for customers and keep track of employees and all this kind of stuff. And so in the day-to-day life, he wants to be working with his hands and teamed up with a person who is working. But Priscilla is kind of like either kind of a prophet woman or a deaconess, like someone who really works with the needs of the people in the little house churches. And she is mentioned first. So it's almost like she has more of a spiritual title than her husband does. And I'm just trying to spread this out to you, Bill, because it is not unusual for a man to be relaxed in his day-to-day work and trade and have a woman who is like beyond the pale out in the spiritual work. Like she's in the outreach team, and she's in the prayer team, and she's working in the training of the children, and she's working with the revelation and discernment and remembrance of scripture and things like that. And so, I've had a handful of people that have, people would complain like, oh, well, your spouse is not so spiritual, and I don't know if you're with the right person, and da-da-da. And I'm telling you, man, there is like a really great dichotomy and teamship that can work out. But one of the things is even as I'm speaking, I'm realizing you guys are in the same trade as me. I am a prophetic minstrel. See that baritone horn? I grew up on the street in New Orleans, in the French Quarter. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Ba-dum, 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 da-da, ba-ba, ba-bum, bum, ba-dum, ba. Jazz Fest and whatever, Lafayette Music Festival, Bro Bridge Crawfish Festival, and I'm realizing that I'm starting to feel like I am being given family that allows me to be who I am. I'm starting to realize that this is no small thing. And I really wish you were here at my house right now, because, I mean, I've hit this wall. I've just discovered that they're not going to take me for dialysis. And that means I have to walk in even heavier faith. I have to walk in super faith. Because if they're not going to give me dialysis, that means I have to press through 3, 4, 5 days and then go into a hospital and say, hey, I'm a dialysis patient. I don't have a regular treatment around here. Can you admit me to your hospital and give me a dialysis treatment? And I've done that many times before, and it turns out to be funky divine appointments, and I can play my guitar and do some tunes and get some writing done and meet new people and actually branch out in ways that I'm not in control of, but Sweet One is in control of. So I ain't scared. But I'm telling you, you guys, I want you to connect with Megan, and I want Megan to get over there as soon as possible, because your connection with Megan is really important. She needs you, and you guys need her. She is something else. She is an unusual character. She literally saved her own autistic child from death. This crazy kid that's always on her side, bouncing around and bopping himself in the head and carrying these funny things around on his forehead. She has loved him into existence against the voice of the doctors and pharmakia. And I mean, she needs to know you guys. You need to know her. And the dark side does not want these connections to be made. So first of all, I want you guys to fight into communication with Megan and make friends with her and do whatever you have to do to get her there as soon as possible for as long as possible. Find out what her schedule restraints are and get her close to you. And get her taking pictures, because this event that you guys are having will be documented by this woman. It's such a remarkable way. It will knock you on your ass. I'm telling you, this woman is wonderful. So, anyhow, blah, blah, blah. I made a special recording for you guys because I've got so much stuff on my heart, and I want you to look at Aquila and Bill. I want you to study Aquila and Priscilla in the scriptures and in bits and pieces of what's on the internet, because now on the internet you can find some really fine teachers that give you insight, and you don't have to like wear the same costume as Pastor Jim Bob, and you don't have to like whatever, and you can get like some insight and some beauty. So you guys are, I feel you guys are like Aquila and Priscilla. LACIE is like Priscilla, and you, Bill, are like Aquila as far as I can feel now, and you guys are of the same trade as me. I am not a tent maker as much as I am a scribe and a writer and a performer and an event promoter. I'm one who creates events and businesses and promotes and interacts with people and brings people together. That's my stuff, and you guys do the same thing. I know it. Bill, the first time that I got to sing in a Follow the Leader song with that chick, LACIE, something happened to me. I was like, this is wonderful family. Oh my gosh, I've got family in the house that I can sing with like a little child. Jacques Alabako. Okay, enough. I don't want to make this too long. Peace be with you. 14 minutes.